So obviously, we're all aware about the recent cuts at newspapers around the country. Major institutions are filing bankruptcy right and left. The victim here? Local reporting. Now, people are stepping up, writing blogs, using Facebook and Twitter, but as a whole, these people are generally not that competent at monetizing this content, so there's ad money now just floating around in the air. I believe that the solution to this is crowdsourcing local coverage. Providing an infrastructure to allow mass amounts of citizen-powered media, and then using professional journalists, many of which might already have been or recently been laid off from a major organization, to filter this content, to edit it. Now, myself and my colleagues here have been hard at work at this for a year already. We started CLT Blog a year ago, and already in that year, we've risen to become Charlotte's premier independent city blog, and last month was voted Charlotte's best local blog by Charlotte Magazine. As we've been doing this, though, we've realized that there's gaps in the tools and techniques for running a citizen-powered news agency. So we've been building a software suite based on our personal philosophy that can be marketed and distributed to other media organizations around the country. This software includes an online content hub, which interfaces with major social media sites, a local business guide, a live reporting tool, a storyboard, which pairs upcoming events and interested contributors, and a system that measures the perceived quality of content and assigns and distributes a monthly commission based on the ranking of this content with the corresponding contributors. Now, we have over 10 years of experience with web companies, startups, and whatnot. We're currently seeking both venture capital to further develop our product and clients to capitalize upon what we've already developed. And we welcome any questions you have.
You talked about your technology, and you've developed very quickly, you've developed a large user base. I think I've even heard something as far as number of users in Charlotte comparable or greater than MySpace. Your customer, though, is that advertiser, correct? That's your revenue stream?
Well, we have, in a sense, you have two revenue streams. You have the revenue stream of the media organization itself, which is through advertising, and you have the revenue stream of us personally, which is through licensing our software.
Gotcha. So your expansion model, your growth model, is to license that to other markets?
Exactly.
None of that will be internal.
CLT Blog itself is just basically the ultimate R&D platform.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And as far as the protection of that customer base, or those using the service right now, we've got big media companies going under left and right, and they too understand the problem of the loss of that revenue stream in advertisers. How do you plan on, what's the barriers to entry? How do you plan on protecting? Is it just an R&D play, or is it difficult to transition those users over to a new technology?
Well, I would say if they understood what we understand, they wouldn't be failing right now. And we've been working on this for a year and a half. We've got proven techniques that we've won, success in the local community. We're ready to, expand upon this and offer it to other people.
So when replicating it, what you replicate is the software, but how much does the success of the whole thing depend on you and your ability to everything you built around it?
I don't understand.
How much, I understand the use of the software to make it work, but it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of other things. You're not part of that package in the replication. So what is the potential for success in replicating it elsewhere?
Well, we are to a point. We offer a number of consulting and client services that will go into more detail in our full presentation about helping them install the software, helping them integrate it into their site. But yeah, so we're definitely there to help them along the way, as well as just giving them the access to the software to begin with.
Okay.
I guess this seems like an alternative, but it's coming in a way that's in addition to everything else we already have. And so what do you see as the tipping point for a user to come to your site as opposed to all the various other media that exists out there?
Basically, I think the problem right now with traditional media is that, firstly, they're losing ad revenue because attention is shifting from print to online, and it's falling faster from print than it's picking up online. So they're having to lay off local journalists, essentially. The quality of their content, the quantity of their content is decreasing. So what's happening is that people aren't getting this this information feed that they're accustomed to, and especially when you compare it to the information feed they're used to with like modern social networks, it's much higher than traditional organizations. So there's this demand for local content that isn't being satisfied by traditional structures, and that's the point that we're reaching right now, that people are looking for this and they don't know where to get it from. We're founding editors at CLTblog.com and creators of the Newsroom software platform. We're thrilled to introduce Newsroom to everyone at Tribune Media today, and to take a bit to explain how we can help you bring your online presence not only up to speed, but above and beyond your competitors. We'll talk details in a minute, but first, let's talk about who we are and how we got started.
It's important to see who we are and the depth of our experiences to understand why you should have confidence in our product. Between the three of us, we have nearly a decade of firsthand experience in cutting-edge startups, web technologies, and in project management, years in blogging, and also in social media. In April 2008, 1 year actually to today, we started CLT Blog because we realized there was a gap in the type of news that local publications were doing and what the community demanded. As we hacked together various tools for managing the contributors, we realized there were a couple faults, especially in efficiency and quality. But even in our early stages of implementation, in a few short months, we became Charlotte's premier independent city blog and voted best local blog by Charlotte Magazine. This is when we decided to create Newsroom.
But isn't local journalism dying, you might ask? Your competitor, McClatchy, is dropping 1,600 jobs and reducing salaries company-wide, resulting in our own hometown Charlotte Observer cutting 14.6% of its staff just last week. And it's no secret that Tribune just last year filed for bankruptcy. This, of course, isn't the end of journalism. It's an opportunity to capitalize on a new market. Online traffic is higher than ever. It's only started to slow since last year because people are finding their information from more widely distributed and responsive services. This chart shows ad revenue for every year since 1950. If you just look at the drop in the last several years, you'll think that newspapers are dying. But if you look at the big picture, you realize we're coming out of historic highs, and there's a tremendous amount of money to be captured. And then, of course, look at social networks. Twitter grew 76.8% last month to 14 million users. Facebook, 23.4% to 91 million users. A new trend has emerged: distributed media.
So why is distributed journalism so important to your survival as a company in this new market? The simple answer is that this is where people are focusing their attention, and it's where there's the most opportunity to capitalize on new revenue streams. With people producing their own local content, the attention is shifting away from newspapers and into new areas. The demand for local content is steady and even growing, but people are making it themselves and not necessarily charging for it. This means papers are losing money, and they don't have an opportunity to compete. The gap in demand for content and the ability to produce leads to unclaimed revenue for your company. And so papers cut journalists, content quality drops, readership drops further, ad sales fall. It's a repeating cycle. Newsroom is your opportunity to break free of this cycle and to harness the wealth of communities. From our experience running CLT Blog, we've created an online newsroom to easily manage citizen and hybrid professional journalists. Newsroom is a content hub, a storyboard, a unique economic platform, a live coverage tool, and a local business guide. So let's break it down.
Here's a view showing contributors and their commissions. We use advanced content quality metrics that balance web traffic, peer ranking, and editorial approval. Newsroom automatically assigns points to contributors that convert into monetary commission. Here's our storyboard, which pairs upcoming events with interested contributors. Our content hub means tying into media from popular, pre-existing services like YouTube, Flickr, WordPress, etc., into topical content nodes that can be republished on your website, lowering cost of production and, moreover, improving quality. Our live coverage tool allows for the creation of rich, on-the-fly, topic-specific news aggregation that harvests incoming media from the community. Our local business guide provides for the creation of hand-curated, media-rich, citizen-fueled content, which can be easily monetized through sponsorships in the community. And naturally, all of our software works effectively on computers and a wide variety of mobile devices.
We're going to work with you in two primary capacities. One is the service we provide through installation, templating, training, development, creative work, data migration, and technical support. And of course, there's our software.
So let's look at your 3 most popular publications: the LA Times, the Chicago Tribune, and the Miami Herald. For huge papers like these, the best strategy is to build a branch of your current website using our software, focusing specifically on citizen journalism. Use the power of the masses on this new site and your brand to build up a large pool of fresh content from which you can handpick the best. And this is just the beginning. Imagine the effect of pulling over the best citizen content into your main site, integrating with traditional journalists. Our software creates better content, which leads to increased readership, which generates higher ad sales, which in combination with lower operating costs can only lead to increased revenue. So let's talk for a moment about how our pay-as-you-go licensing structure works.
So here's the important part. What is it going to cost you? We deploy our software through a licensing model. You'll pay a monthly performance-based fee to use our newsroom software. Our metrics give us a number on the unique page views that you receive on our citizen journalism website every month. It uses the model that we're displaying on the screen. Our charges per page view decrease based on the traffic you receive. This pricing structure is low risk to you because it's an incentive-based structure for us. The more we drive a custom solution for your readers, the more we'll get paid, and the more your revenue will increase. The LA Times currently pulls in about $2 million a month in online revenue. If we translated that to our pricing model, we'd only pull 7.37%, or $150,000. As you can see from this graph, when we take our ad revenue model and place it on a linear scale, you can see that there's a big difference. So we estimate that a citizen journalist site coupled with the Chicago Tribune would cost you $23,000 a month with an estimated net revenue of $100,000 a month after you pay contributors. Payments to contributors will be decided on a dynamic basis, and you can turn the dial up or down at any time based on revenue. We'll help with migration, planning, and other business services, but we'll talk about these costs in our future discussions. You can turn the dial up or down.
Excuse
at any
me,
time.
can you go back just 2 pages? I guess now that I see this,
Mhm.
I just want to take a look at the,
Yeah, sure.
can you explain how my operating costs decrease now?
Are decreasing
What
using
am
our
I,
software?
what am I eliminating? It seems like I'm buying
You're-
something and I'm paying
Sure.
perhaps even more.
So the process of managing a large group of citizens means a lot of like little managerial administrative tasks, pulling in content, tying content together, all this kind of like fiddly stuff that we're currently doing or have been doing with CLT Blog. But what we're doing now with this software is automating a large percentage of this process, allowing a smaller group of editors to manage a larger pool of contributors.
And where does my paper publication fit into this?
That's an interesting concept. So one possible, no, it is really. So one possible solution
It's
is
our
to start with a new section in your paper, a citizen section of your paper that pulls in the most relevant, the most popular content from that previous week. And it also depends on how quickly you're publishing. Obviously, some papers are slowing down their publications to maybe 2 or 3 times a week or so. But if you're publishing on a daily basis, there exists the potential to, get some content from your website out on a paper form pretty quickly.
As we're proposing, if you couple our software with a separate citizen journalism website, we'll already have a core group of editors that will be refining and developing the citizen journalists that will contribute. But from that first layer of sorting and filtering, you can then handpick the best of those to either go onto your current website or to go into your daily or weekly publications.
You made the comment earlier that it was then easily monetized. And what we hear every single day is people have not figured out how to monetize news on the web. So how so it's easily done?
So this is something that we like to call boutique advertising. It's something that's been experimented with certain organizations but hasn't quite been adopted by mass media. And what we're doing, for instance, in this local business guide, we're providing the same type of rich media that we would otherwise provide for maybe covering a local event or some kind of news announcement. We're providing that same kind of rich content for businesses. So, for instance, this is a bar directory for Raleigh. And here you have a photo of the, if I could point, I would point to it, but a photo of the bar in question. We're using the techniques that we're encouraging citizens to use to give rich content, richer content than Google or Yelp or any of these directories. It's hand-curated, custom local content. We can go out to these places and interview the head chef, talk about what's cool coming up this month, talk about what musicians are coming to play at local venues. We can also offer sponsored levels of participation, so the more perhaps you pay us on a monthly or yearly basis, depending on the contract, the richer the content that we're providing for you on our directory is.
And we would train your staff to use these tools that we enable through our software platform and give them the ability to monetize this revenue stream.
Essentially, it's packaging the core concepts of citizen-rich media journalism into something that can be indexed and redistributed to local businesses and hence monetized.
So bottom line, I've got a local Wikipedia that you're going to edit, or we're going to edit via software or whatever, and it's going to be paid for by advertising? Is that the picture, or did I miss something?
Well, it's not so much advertising as it is sponsorship, because you're not letting them just take
Yeah,
real
but
estate
they don't
off
like
your
to
site.
sponsor profit companies.
Well, I think they would in this situation, because it's just like people sponsor their businesses in eBay listings or in Google search results. This is the same basic concept. You're just displaying data, and then you're sorting it on a second level based on perhaps if they chose to be sponsored or not. It's not so much direct advertising, because we're not selling real estate. We're more acting as a mediary between their message and our audience.
You're using your brand as an ability to recommend their service.
This is a topic we could go on for hours and hours about. It's really interesting. No, it really is.